All right, welcome back to learning Java. So this is now the second series of learning Java, introductory to Java, but this is like the second stage of it because today we're going to be talking about more kind of in-depth ideas, a little bit into better programming structure. One of the biggest things that you need to learn in terms of how to be a decent programmer, especially at the beginning, is learning if else, and else statements. Essentially what they're used for is situational decisions. So it's very English based in that the logic behind those words is exactly what it means. If this, then do this. Else if, do this. Else, then do this. So it creates sort of parameters as to what their fields mean and what it is that you want to do, the action behind whatever statement is going on. So what we're going to do today is take what we did in the first series of Java and we're going to convert it into a situation where the user may just want to calculate perimeter or they may just want to calculate area. So what we're going to need to do is, instead of these being the first two questions that are asked or prompted to the user rather, we're going to prompt a first question that says calculate either area or perimeter. So I'm going to go ahead and type this in real quick. So what I did here was I put in a question that prompted the user to either enter in perimeter or area as the answer, and then a string that receives that answer. And it's not next int or anything, it's now just next line because it just receives that first input. There's no such thing as like next string or anything like that. So next line will be able to perceive whatever the entry is and just place it into this variable calc type. So the next thing we need to do is just segment out this data in this area right here. So we need to create an if, an else if, and an else statement. So the if statement is going to be the first one where it takes this calc type and it compares it. So it'll be calc type dot equals, and you're going to do ignore case, because if for some reason the user enters perimeter or area with a lowercase a or a lowercase p, then it still will be able to compare the calculation types that we'll place in here. So for the first one, we'll do perimeter. So what I'm saying is, if they enter the with a lowercase p, it would still be able to say that this calc type variable is actually compared to this, because they're going to just take this and lowercase it out and make all the letters lowercase. And then in this event, what we're going to do is, if it's perimeter, then we'll do the calculation for perimeter. So in this, the action will be perimeter, and then it'll output perimeter that we calculated. So you can delete these lines from down here. Just make sure you copy them into that if statement first of all. Now we're going to create an else if statement. So if it's not this, then it would be this, essentially. So it'll be calc type dot equals ignore case, and then we're going to just type in area. And because it's a string, make sure that you do put the quotes around perimeter and area. That's the way it registers it. So then we'll copy the remaining sequence of calculations into this statement. Just make sure format's right. It's always good to have good programming format. That way when people are looking through your code, or even like you're looking through your code later on, you're able to follow it a little bit better with the indentation and everything. And then of course we need to have one last statement. If for some reason the user enters something that isn't necessarily area or perimeter, maybe they click something and maybe they just didn't enter anything at all and just pressed enter. There was nothing for the program to pick up. We need to be able to handle that case. So that's going to be else. And we're going to place this down here, and we're going to say system dot out dot print line. We're going to say wrong answer, please start program again. And this will prompt the user to start the program again because they entered something that just wasn't in pretty much within our confines of what we make any input acceptable. So now we should be able to run this, and it will first ask for the perimeter or the area, and then it'll ask for the length, and then it'll ask for the width, and then it'll go through and do the calculation. So we will run this. So perimeter or area, let's say area, type in a length and click enter, we'll say 2, and then type in a width, we'll say 4, and then area is 8. We run it again, perimeter area, say perimeter, type in a length, 2, type in a width, 3, perimeter is 10. 3 plus 3, 6, 2 and 2, 4, 10. Yep, so this is just a simple kind of getting used to if, else if, and else statements. There are cases in which you only need maybe just if statements. You might not need an else if statement. You might not even use an else statement. There are situations where those exist, but knowing if, and else statements for general programming reasons, it's really, really important. So I encourage you to come up with your own kind of scenarios in which you can kind of utilize them and just think them through, because they're extremely, extremely important in the programming world. So this is the first lesson of Intro to Java 2. I hope you learned something new.